Most of us think about business growth like it's a straight line. You put effort in, you get results out. Simple. But what if that's the wrong shape entirely? Today, we're going to build a totally new mental model for growth. It's not a line. It's a powerful, self-perpetuating engine. Let's build the relationship flywheel. So think about the classic sales funnel. You have to pour massive amounts of energy and resources into the top, right? And what comes out the bottom? A tiny trickle of customers. It's leaky. It constantly loses energy, and you're always having to refill it. A flywheel, though, that's a different beast. Every single push you give it adds to its momentum. It creates this self-sustaining engine for growth that doesn't leak energy. It actually accumulates it. So here's how we're going to build this thing piece by piece. First, we got to find that initial opening to get the flywheel moving. Then we'll talk about building real trust with stakeholders. From there, we'll see how to transform those relationships and then power up a renewal engine that makes the whole thing a self-sustaining growth machine.
Okay, that first push on any flywheel, it always takes the most effort. But, and this is key, it doesn't have to be about brute force. The absolute smartest way to start is by finding a crack in the market. You're looking for an unmet need that the bigger, more established players have either totally ignored or just can't see.
So, how do you do that without getting into a head-on collision with a giant? Well, Harvard Business School Online points to two brilliant strategies. First, there's what they call low-end disruption. This is where you swoop in and serve the very bottom of the market, the part the big incumbents don't find profitable enough to even defend. Then you have new market disruption. This is where you create a simpler, more affordable solution for customers who are just overwhelmed by all the complex, feature-heavy, expensive products already out there.
Both of these strategies really hinge on one crucial insight from the late, great Clayton Christensen. You have to understand the job your customer is actually trying to do. See, people hire products to get a specific job done. The famous example is the milkshake. Turns out, commuters weren't just buying a drink. They were hiring the milkshake to make a long, boring drive just a little less tedious. If you can figure out that underlying job and nail it, you found your opening.
All right, finding that opening gives the flywheel its first big push. To give it a second one, you need to start building momentum. And that momentum comes from one place: trust. It comes from strategically engaging every single person who has a stake in your success. We're talking customers, employees, investors, everybody. And I'm not talking about random check-ins or a yearly survey. Real engagement isn't an accident. It is a deliberate strategy. This framework from BSR lays it out perfectly. It's a process. You have to map out who you need to talk to, actually prepare for that conversation, engage them directly, and then, this is the important part, create a concrete action plan based on what you learn. And this isn't just high-level theory. Let's get practical. You don't just send an email. You go visit your stakeholders on their own turf, see their daily reality. You don't just sell to them. You invite them to lunch to build genuine trust. It's about shifting from just broadcasting at them to actually involving them in your decisions and communicating with, radical honesty. Every one of these actions proves you're accountable. And that's the bedrock of any real relationship. This brings us to probably the most critical leap in this whole flywheel model. It's about elevating your relationships from being merely transactional to being truly transformational. This is the moment you stop being just another vendor and become an indispensable partner. I mean, this quote from David Butter just says it all, doesn't it? Without trust, you're a commodity. You are easily replaced. Trust is the currency that buys you that seat at the table. It's what lets you make that leap from vendor to advisor. So, what's the difference in the real world? Well, a vendor gets judged by KPIs, right? Key performance indicators. But a trusted advisor, they become a KPI, a key person of interest. They're not just there to provide a service. They get the client's core agenda and are constantly adding value. The secret ingredient here is what AESC calls selfless independence. Having the discipline to put your client's interests ahead of your own short-term wins. And making this leap is absolutely critical because, as this chart from Core shows, the connection between customer satisfaction and loyalty, it's not a straight line. Not at all. Customers who are just satisfied are in what's called the zone of indifference. They could leave you tomorrow. But once you create that deep satisfaction, the kind a trusted advisor provides, they jump into the zone of affection. They become apostles for your brand. And the scary part? On the flip side, dissatisfied customers become terrorists, actively telling people to stay away. There really is no safe middle ground.
Okay, now the flywheel is spinning with some serious energy. We've established deep trust, and with that, we can build a powerful renewal engine. This engine is fueled by two things working together: your own internal team alignment and proactive customer engagement.
And the results are very, very real. Just look at this number from Partnero. Freshworks managed to close deals 50% faster simply by getting their internal partnership and sales teams on the same page. Breaking down those internal silos is the first step to creating that seamless experience for your customer that just drives renewals.
So to build this engine, we can actually combine insights from Paterno and Bellaris to create a full 360-degree strategy. Internally, it's all about alignment, common goals, open communication, shared incentives. You get the idea. Externally, it's about being proactive, doing regular business reviews, constantly asking for feedback, and being flexible. When that internal machine and the external experience are perfectly in sync, renewal isn't a question anymore. It's just the default logical next step.
All right, we've built all the individual parts, the moment of truth. Let's assemble them and see the full relationship flywheel in motion, our complete, self-powering growth machine. And here it is, the complete flywheel. It all starts when you find that opening. You use that spark to engage stakeholders and build real trust. You then leverage that trust to become an invaluable advisor. That deep relationship powers renewals, creating those loyal apostles and predictable revenue. And then, here's the magic. You take that energy, that revenue, and you reinvest it to find new openings, which gives the flywheel another powerful push, making the whole cycle spin even faster.
So there you have it. That's the model. It's a fundamental shift in thinking, isn't it? It's about moving from just hunting for the next transaction to cultivating relationships that build their own momentum. The only question left is, where are you going to start? What's the one relationship with a customer, a partner, maybe even an internal team that you can start transforming into a flywheel this week?